service started in 1879, when the first 40 kilometres of track was laid between Port Augusta and Quorn. The legendary train we've come to know as the Ghan actually came into existence on the 4th of August 1929, when the first passengers arrived at Stewart, as Alice Springs was known then. And in what was to become its signature characteristic, it was 2.5 hours late. The line was built in stages through the Flinders Ranges, Maree and Oodnadatta over a period of 50 years. And as I've said, finally reaching Alice Springs in 1929. Building this iron strip through the entire centre was epic, and maintaining it through the massive natural drainage system in the centre of Australia that fed Lake Eyre was a constant job. The last narrow gauge Ghan pulled out of Maree at 1:16 a.m. on the 25th of November 1980, upon completion of the new standard gauge line to Tarcoola, marking the end of an era and a significant chapter in South Australia and Northern Territory's railway history. Our 2023 trip is going to follow the Ghan route, the old Ghan steam train from Adelaide to Alice Springs. We were supposed to be in the desert in WA around Lake Mackay, but that all got shy-bossed when we couldn't get permits for it. So here we are doing this instead. Our first stop tonight will be Wirreanda. We're not far from it now. The turn-off's just up here. This is going to be the first Ghan station we're going to worry about. There are a whole bunch towards the south, but haven't done anything about them. We'll start our pilgrimage, if you like, at Wirreanda. We're now going to do something I've wanted to do all my life: time travel. But we're not going backwards in time, we're going forwards, about 4 weeks. There's a whole bunch of Ghan stations between Port Augusta and Wirreanda that we just drove past last time, and I didn't bother with them. We thought we'd started at Wirreanda. Realising after a bit of research in the meantime, and realising there were a lot of other sidings, I've decided to plot them out and try and visit them on a small solo pilgrimage between Port Augusta and Lyndhurst. And I'm just now making my way to Port Augusta. Start at the actual Port Augusta railway station. That's where the Pitchy Ritchie Railway leaves from and where the Ghan used to. We'll start it from there. Many of the sidings are completely gone, have been razed to the ground and no longer exist. Not even rubble that I can identify on Google Earth, but we'll see what's to be found on the actual ground and tread the ground and see if I can identify where the sidings at least were and make a visual record of those ones. This is the Port Augusta railway station where the Ghan, well, the Pitchy Ritchie Railway rather, leaves from and where the Ghan used to. The platform is very oldie-worldy. I guess I was lucky enough to be here when a train actually went through. Ironically, if I'd been here, or if I was here this coming Saturday, the 23rd of September, I could have seen the Pitchy Ritchie Railway. It runs next week, or this week, at the end of this week. Missed it by that much. Alright, we'll head northwards and see where the next station is. Next one I'm going to go looking for is Saltia. After leaving the Port Augusta railway station, the train chugged northwards, off to our left at the moment, but we'll meet up with it soon, and headed towards, we went through a couple of sidings on the way to this point, Stirling North, which we're going through now, and the old racecourse. We won't see it until we get to Saltia though. It's the first actual siding. Just off to the left there, on the left hand side of the road, you can see the train line just coming in. That's the Pitchy Ritchie line, what was once the Old Ghan. Pass under our first Ghan bridge. Although it is about 1 kilometre away from my projected location of the siding, it is nevertheless located here, just next to the point where the line crosses the road. These photos of the Pitchy Ritchie steam train passing here are from a previous visit in 2011. Well, I'm unable to drive to Woolshed per se because it's locked. It only operates. It's only open when the Ghan comes down here. So I'm going to have to park and walk down the line. It's just down in the distance there. I found some more footage that I took back in 2011 of the Pitchy Ritchie Railway arriving at this very station, and I thought, well, I can't not put that in here. Apologies for the shaky camera work. Almost. These look old enough to be original buildings, so what purpose they originally served I'm not sure. Station master's house perhaps. It's a duplex, whatever it is. And down here it's something more akin to the Ghan sidings we're used to, the single row of single rooms. This one's still completely functional though. Important difference from all the rest. And out the back it looks like what's a model of a Ghan tank and a water softener. I'm not actually sure what it is, but that's just what they look like. The flies are as bad as I've ever experienced them anywhere. The back of the siding. And again, what I'd assume would be the station master's residence or some official. And it's Woolshed Flat. Driving along Altman Road following the Ghan line, and again I've come foul of private property. The siding supposedly aimed summit is 100 metres just in front of me, over to the left. This is the Hyson Trail, so I can walk there, and I might even do that. Well, sometimes I'm amazed. I got to the within 100 metres of where the waypoint, projected waypoint for the summit siding was supposed to be, and I came across a cutting. I thought, wow, there's not going to have a siding in a cutting, but just over the hill from where I parked, and 30 metres from the waypoint, as I said, there is summit. There's summit to be said for that. So, there we go. One siding located. Only another 8,000 to go. Okay, the next siding is Quorn. This one is completely restored and part of the Tourist Information Centre, so it should be lots to see here. Quaint little township. There's enough to see and do here to keep you occupied for a few hours. As everyone else has discovered.
What a beauty. Garden tank that most likely could hold water.
Well, we're just out of Quorn now, heading north still. That's Devil's Peak in the background. And the Old Ghan chugged down here many, many years ago. Crossed the road and headed off down there. Plenty of old insulators there still on the posts. Yeah, so we're just north of Quorn. There were no relics left of the sizable settlement that was Willochra. A couple of information boards is all I could find. One of them, it mentions a fettler's cottage 800 metres north, which I did find and which we'll visit next. Okay, well I've turned now. We're looking for a Willochra siding. The road I thought might be private property probably isn't. I'm saying it isn't because there was a give way sign on it. So it means it's a gazetted road, which means public can drive it. That's my rationale anyway. I am heading, hopeful of finding some ruins at this particular siding. We shall see. Rough for the rabbit holes. Okay, there's some rubble over there to the right by that tree. I would hazard a guess that's what's left of the siding. Go over and have a look. Well, there are two distinct piles of rubble, which leads me to believe it's the traditional Ghan single-storey split dwelling, comprised of 5 or 6 single rooms with fireplaces, as is the norm with all of them, well, most of them anyway. Just beyond it, you may or may not be able to make out the line of where the train ran. So, This is Willochra fettlers' residences, or what's left of them. And over by the train line, there's the remains of a concrete foundation that has a cavity beneath it, like I've seen in many of the Ghan ruins. The walls of all of them are smooth, worked concrete, as you'd have for the lining of an underground water tank, but nothing else about them says water storage. And the top is thick enough to stop a bomb. Wonder what they're all about. They're all about 2 metres deep. And there's the line of the train, coming from Quorn that way, and heading to Hawker that way. And with an Old Ghan spike. You don't get much more original than that. After Willochra, the next sighting we're going to look for is Quorn, coming up in 12 kilometres. Okay, we're just going past the Quorn sign for the Quorn Historic Site. I'll just dive in here with the sign. This little mound right in front of us is the Ghan route, and the siding was reputed to be around here somewhere. I'll stop and look on foot. Very thoughtfully provided an information board. This is the line of the Ghan coming up from Willochra. This is Quorn. My calculated position for the siding is down that way about 100 metres. I'll go down and have a look and see if I can see any rubble or anything. I thought this mound that I'm standing on was the line of the train, but there's another mound over there. And it would appear that the track ran down the channel between the two. Perhaps this was to keep the floodwaters at bay? Because between the two mounds, there are obvious signs of a railway track with the remains of sleepers. And not to mention a million flies. About 100 metres further north of where I'd marked the position of Quorn, that is towards Hawker, there are signs of a culvert where they've run the lines over a gap to let the water run through. And there are cattle yards up here. I'm not sure the age of them, but they're made of steel, so probably old railway iron, made from when all this was pulled up. And here we have what looks like a siding platform. And I think I'll mark this as the site of the Gordon siding. As far as railway infrastructure goes, this is pretty definitive, and I'm confident I can call this the Gordon siding. Because 80-90% of this thing is constructed a railway line, I'd suggest it came after the demise of the train here. Okay, so that's Gordon.
Go in here and have a look for a bridge. Over there, half washed away. The jalopy here and get out. This is the Wirreanda Bridge. It was originally 60 metres wide. It got washed away, half it got washed away in a flood in, I'd have to check the date, and it was never rebuilt. The busted bit is laying right there.
It was built in 1880, and it wasn't until I got home that I discovered it was only washed away in January 2007, after surviving 127 years. That would probably explain why it wasn't rebuilt.
Beautiful stonework on all these Ghan buildings and infrastructure. They went to a lot of trouble and did it properly. Just after the bridge, there's a parking bay that the train line runs immediately behind, and they've identified it as the train line. Just down here there's a little culvert worth looking at, I thought. You have to remember the embankment for this train didn't need to be very wide. It was only a very narrow gauge line at 3'6". It doesn't need a big footprint. Again, some brilliant stonework. Certainly stood the test of time. built there to cater for the amount of water that would flow down that. Every now and then